Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is the War Train here, and in today's video, I can't wait to show you guys all the games that I finished in 2022. The year's not completely over yet. There's a little bit of time, so I'll probably sneak another one of these games in, probably Crisis Core, because that's one I'm really looking forward to. But you know, it's amazing that I have a list of games this big for this year, considering the time that I put into some of these games. You know, some of them anywhere between 60 to hundreds of hours a piece into, and man, I definitely had to make some sacrifices like sleep and stuff. But before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel and you're not already subscribed, think about subscribing. With that said, let's check out these games. So the first games I want to go over are games that I don't own a physical copy of. Games that I played digitally through, you know, PlayStation Plus, was given to me or whatever through the subscription, or just through Xbox Games Pass. And maybe I just haven't, you know, got a physical copy yet or whatever. I had to write these down because, man, it was hard to remember. I had to look through all my games, look, you know, through just like my digital games and stuff to just pique my memory of games that I was playing. Some I came close to finishing but never completed. Maybe I'll just kind of, you know, throw some of them out there. But first off, one of the games that I had beaten this year is The Forgotten City. This is one I did play on Xbox Game Pass. Absolutely just phenomenal game. I didn't know nothing about it. I just read the description in Games Pass, downloaded it, started playing it. The game was an absolute blast. It's basically a puzzle of sense, but it has like some history kind of stuff going on, and you know, a lot of just mystery and intrigue. It's essentially a game where you got to figure out how to navigate through this world without making any mistakes. You have to talk to characters through the world and, you know, do things for them or make right decisions to basically survive. The game is very odd. I've never played anything quite like it. It's got these statues. If you you know, don't abide by this Forgotten City's rules, these statues, they do come to life and they kill you. It is a wild freaking ride, and you definitely learn some cool stuff about this Forgotten City. I highly recommend it. I don't know if it's still on Xbox Games Pass, but if I ever see a physical copy of this game, I will be picking it up because it is well worth the money. Okay, so the next one is one that I started last year and is one of the games that was in last year's video, but I did mention I was at the end of it, but I didn't beat it yet. So in the beginning of 2022, it was one of the first games that I did finish, and that is a digital copy of Kena: The Bridge of Spirits. This game did not have a physical copy at that time when it first launched, so I bought it physically because I really wanted to play this game. So I finally did just that. I finished this, you know, like I said, one of the first games in the beginning of the year. The next game here I played off of Xbox Games Pass was Trek to Yomi. This was a samurai game with some pretty awesome graphics for being an indie game. It's like a side, you know, side scroll, like a side, not really a side scroller, but like a 2D platformer in a way, where you're basically a samurai and you just go through and hack and slash stuff. It has modern graphics. It's all black and white, which is very unique, and it tells a story basically of your character dying and working his way, you know, through the afterlife and stuff. Pretty cool game. It's not very long. It didn't take me very long to run through it, but I definitely had a good time. It's, you know, worth you downloading on your Xbox if you have Games Pass. This next one here is Scorn. This game, it has had a lot of people mixed. I absolutely loved this H.R. Giger inspired artwork, you know, going back to that Alien style from the movies. Absolutely love this game. It's definitely unique. There's not really much else like it. You know, there's not too much for combat. A little bit. It's mostly just problem solving, but there is some combat more towards the end of the game. But I really was digging the art style. This game is creepy as hell. Your character has some really freaky stuff happen to him, and the ending is just as weird as the rest of the game. It definitely has quite the ending. It's kind of confusing to know what in the hell is kind of going on, but I feel like that is this game's, you know, strong point, is its art direction and just how freaking weird it is and different from all the rest of the stuff. It's definitely not like any other game you've kind of played before, and I do appreciate that, and I did really enjoy my time with it. Not a super long game, in my opinion, definitely worth a playthrough, especially if you are into that art style. It's just a no-brainer. Play it. The game looks awesome on Xbox Series X as well. Okay, so the next one is one that I was really excited for, and this is Plague Tale Requiem. This game was freaking awesome. Another one, looks absolutely gorgeous on Xbox Series X. I had a blast playing this game. I pretty much started it when it first launched on there and played it straight through. At some point, I do hope to get a physical copy. I'd also like to get a physical copy of the first one, which I only have digitally. You know, it's just a great series of games. This one definitely kind of, you know, kind of wraps things up or whatever. And I really did like this story. Had a pretty sad kind of ending. I don't want to spoil it, but it was definitely good all the way through. I highly recommend both the Plague Tale games if you've never played them. I know last year I played the first one, and that was in the games that I beat in 2021. So real quick, I just fire off some, you know, just games off Games Pass that I didn't actually beat. One is 12 Minutes, a little indie game. It takes place in just, like it says, something like 12 minutes or whatever. It's making decisions and stuff. I'm pretty close to the end of that game, but I haven't finished it. It's definitely a unique game. You know, something cool just to check out, maybe if you have a little bit of time. Let's see, Yakuza Like a Dragon. That is one I dumped a ton of time in. I'm like right towards the end of the game, but god damn, that game got hard. The only way for me to progress through this boss battle that I'm stuck at is to go out and just grind. And I haven't just gone back to it to do that. At some point I'm going to have to do that to finish that up. I really was digging that game. I've dumped quite a few hours into that one. This next one here is Final Fantasy 13. I jumped into that, was playing it on the Series X. The game really does hold up as far as the graphics, especially on the Series X. I was really enjoying it. Another one though, it definitely starts to get pretty difficult as you progress, and one of those games where you're definitely gonna maybe need to start grinding a bit if you want to continue the story, which, you know, it was kind of like other stuff came out and I got sidetracked and, you know, just haven't got back to that, or the Yakuza game. This next one, Lost Odyssey. I bought this one. It was 4 discs. I put the first disc in my Xbox Series X. It just installs all of it because it's backwards compatible. It runs the game the best it probably will ever look, and at, you know, nice frame rates and stuff. That game, not bad. Definitely shows its age a little, but still definitely holds up. The game was fun. Again, I can't remember why I stopped playing it. Probably something came out and I got sidetracked. I was playing it kind of in between stuff, so definitely I need to get back to. Another one is Nier Automata. Absolutely love this game. I have it on PlayStation 4. I bought it day one. I played into it, stopped playing it because I got sidetracked. Well, I was on Games Pass, the one of the editions. They came out with a bunch of different ones. I dove into that game pretty close to the end of the game. Got playing on something else, wanted to go back, and it was off of Games Pass, and I deleted it off my system to make space. So since it wasn't there, I couldn't play it anymore. So now I'm on the pursuit of a physical copy on Xbox, you know, Xbox One or whatever. I do have it for the Switch as well, but I kind of wanted to pick up from my save state because I did dump quite a bit of time into that game. And being that I already put a bunch of time before on PlayStation 4, I'd like to just finish it on one console, and Xbox being the one that I was the furthest on. Okay, so those were just some like mentions about Games Pass. Definitely some awesome games on there for sure. Okay, so another couple that I played physically on Xbox, specifically on my Series X. This is one that came out on Xbox One. I started playing it, was probably at least halfway, probably 3/4 of the way through the game. Stopped playing it because I got stuck on some stupid puzzle. And just, you know, wasn't playing it. Talked to my good buddy Steve Craig. from Steve Craig Retro Games. He was like, man, you got to finish that game and see like through the ending and stuff. I was like, yeah, you're right, you know. So I started playing it and I finished it. And that is no other than Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order. Freaking excellent game. And it figures the puzzle I was stuck at was just something stupid. I couldn't see a breakable wall to get like this big ball I had to roll. You know, it was like this whole sequence of balls that you had to roll, and they like opened like passageways and made air go when you put them on these switches, and you would launch other balls and stuff. It was this whole thing. So if you played this game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But there was a third ball missing. It was behind a breakable wall, and for whatever reason, I just didn't see that that wall was something I could break. So I went back and figured it out pretty fast. I was pretty pissed because, man, I had spent hours looking for that damn thing. And finally it was like right in front of my face, but I was pretty close to the end of the game, finished it, absolutely loved it, cannot wait for the next one. And this is another game that when it launched, super controversial. I made a video, I showed this game running on Xbox Series X and also on the original VCR looking Xbox One, and man, quite the difference. Game was so buggy I actually stopped playing it. I was about halfway through, and that is no other than Cyberpunk 2077. So this was right before they did the next gen update or whatever. I figured that the game was in a good enough state, and at that time I didn't know when this update was coming. I knew it was coming soon, but they didn't have a release date for it yet. So I just said, what the hell, I'm just gonna jump back into it because I wanted to play it. And I absolutely loved it. It was definitely fixed compared to how it was. When it first came out, let's face it, the game was pretty broken, and that's why I stopped kind of playing it. But jumping back into it felt great. I finished this game, did most of the side quests and stuff. Didn't finish all of them because there's quite a few. But at some point I do want to give this game a full replay through with the next gen update. I did jump into it with the update just to check it out. It looks great, plays great. I can't wait for the DLC. Such a great game. I mean, honestly, it just sucks that it released in such a bad state that gave this game such a bad rep right off the beginning. It definitely deserved all the criticism, but at this point, I think it's a game that's worth going back to and playing because, man, it's just a cool freaking game and builds an awesome, world with Night Cities. Just phenomenal stuff there. So that was everything on Xbox. Next, I'll show you what I played on my Nintendo Switch. And this guy right here is actually one that I did play on Xbox Games Pass when it launched, but I've since then got a physical copy for the Switch, and that is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Now, I did play this game on day one when it launched with my son. Me and him played straight through the campaign mode or whatever in 2-player. It was absolutely awesome. He loved it. I loved it. Probably one of the best beat 'em ups just ever. I mean, it is done so freaking well with just modern stuff, but such a love letter to that arcade beat 'em up classic gameplay that most of us really, really love. So just, man, what a great freaking game. It's like, I hope they make another one after this. Same team, same, art style and everything. Just do something a little more, like change, new story, whatever, new boards. But man, they absolutely nailed this game, and what a blast. Glad I, played through that, especially with my son. Definitely something I will never forget. And then next on Switch, and this game is one that I also had in last year's video. I was towards the end of the game, but I didn't quite finish it. I was having a hard time with the last boss. I went and just grinded out, did some more side quests and stuff, and that is for Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So this was one of the first games that I beat this year. This game is freaking, I loved it. I had a great time with this game. I was sad to see it end. I put a lot of time into this. Just definitely worth playing. I love the Xenoblade games. Some of my favorite games of all time now. Since I, played the first one and now have played all of them, I just, I love these games. They are just a blast. Open worlds, done great, especially for the Nintendo Switch, which is definitely an underpowered system. The fact that they have these massive worlds, and you know, the team does a pretty great job with what they do, because a lot of other games like this on Nintendo Switch definitely struggle to run, or they have crazy pop in. I mean, this game has pop in too, but I feel like it's managed. This stuff's managed good enough, you know, that it works. You know, this one a little more hazy and blurry in spots than, like, you know, Xenoblade 3. But nevertheless, I had a good time with this game, and it was a long one. So then, after I finished that one, I jumped into Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna: The Golden Country. I had this and I had just never got around to playing it. Well, I finally dove into it and just played straight through it. I did all the side quests and stuff. Again, absolutely excellent. You know, this is almost like necessary with playing Xenoblade 2. These games, you know, both of these, it's the same story. This is a prequel, but you really kind of need to play them both. They go hand in hand for sure. I know these games are both pricey at this point, but worth playing if you're into these kind of games, JRPGs and stuff. It's at least worth picking up maybe digital just for the experience, because I had a blast with these. This one definitely a lot shorter, being just DLC. It does some, you know, gameplay improvements over the main game or whatever. Definitely a slimmed down story, but it's not a massive story to tell. It's basically telling the story of Torna. Because in Xenoblade 2, you know, that place is destroyed. So you find out why that is and what led up to it and all that stuff. But definitely a great game as well. And then this came out, and I didn't even, you know, none of us knew that this was even going to be a thing this year until Nintendo just dropped this on us. Hey, Xenoblade Chronicles 3. This game, absolutely awesome. As far as the actual gameplay, this is by far my favorite Xenoblade Chronicles game. I loved the combat system. I had such a blast with it. This game, I did just about everything there is to do in this game. There's all these like hero quests and stuff. I did all of those. They're ascension quests for the heroes. And as far as I'm concerned, they're basically part of the story. So I finished all those, and you get to actually use those characters' builds and then build upon those. You can level them up and stuff and master them, which is really awesome. This game gives you so much, you know, to do as far as fighting. There's so many different styles because of all those characters or whatever. Once you do their ascension quests, you're able to basically level those character builds up for yourself all the way, which is pretty freaking awesome. So, you know, cool story. I feel like the story just starts strong from the very beginning. The ending, maybe not as strong as, say, like Xenoblade Chronicles 1, but definitely serviceable. You know, I don't feel it was the best story. I did, you know, think it was really good through the beginning and the midway. I just don't feel like they totally nailed the landing like Xenoblade 1 or something. But absolutely excellent JRPG, and by far one of my favorites. Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3 are all awesome freaking games. And I put a lot of time into that one, easily 200 hours. Just had a blast with that. So that's what I played on the Nintendo Switch, and this is just the stuff that I finished. Believe me, guys, I played so many other games on so many different consoles, but just maybe didn't complete them all, or they're games that you just don't complete because they're arcade style or whatever. But played a lot this year. So next we're going to jump into PlayStation. And this is a pretty large pile here because I played a lot on my PlayStation 5, to be honest. Okay, so the first one here is Horizon Forbidden West. Such an amazing game. This game looks phenomenal. So cool. If you have beaten this game, you know it's going to get a sequel. It's going to be a trilogy of games, just absolutely excellent. The first one was excellent as well, but this definitely just delivers on what the first one did, and then so much more. There's so much more to the combat, the upgrading and stuff. Character customization with different stuff that you can get, clothes, face paint, all kinds of just different things. Just absolutely had a blast with this game, and it looks amazing. Just some of the best, like facial animations and stuff. I was pretty blown away on just how good this game looks. I wouldn't mind jumping back into this game now that it's been a while since I played it, just to check it out again, because man, this game is definitely a looker, and it is so smooth to play. I had such a blast with this. Couldn't recommend this enough. If you have a PS5, even a PS4, definitely worth your time. Now this next one, this is a game that I actually played through 2 times with my daughter. It was pretty cool because we were just swapping the controller back and forth, and that is The Quarry. And this is where you are basically playing a movie that you're just picking, the dialogue options that lead to different outcomes. So your character may live, they may die. You just don't know until you make that decision, good or bad. You're going to find out what happens to them. The first playthrough, I lost, I think, 2 characters, and I wanted to try to save them all, so me and her did another playthrough, and I was going to be saving them all, and then I made a mistake right at the very end and killed damn near everybody. I was so pissed, and haven't jumped back into it since, but this is a game that I feel is definitely replayable. I had a really good time with this, and I know my daughter did too as well, and I know she would like to do another playthrough at some point, as well as Until Dawn. That was another game that I was playing with her. I didn't finish that one yet though, but in due time I will be finishing that one too. This was another surprise this year. Some people were like, this game didn't need it, but nevertheless, that is The Last of Us Part 1 remake. I absolutely loved this remake. It looks freaking gorgeous. I feel like it was definitely warranted. The original one looks good, but man, this looks that much better. Stunning visuals on this game, and we already know the game's great, so we don't have to rehash that, but the visuals of this, absolutely top notch. Definitely looks better than Part 2, that's for sure, even though that this is built off of, it's an older game and it's built a little different. It does look better than The Last of Us Part 2. Had to pick this up day one, and I'm very glad that I did. But then after playing it, I wanted more, so I played back through The Last of Us Part 2 right after I finished Part 1. And like I said, Part 1 is the better looking game at this point. But Part 2, great gameplay, and a lot of people were weird about this story when it came out, and I totally get that, but the game's phenomenal. Playing back through it made me realize just, again, how freaking good it is. Really liked the story, loved the gameplay, just an absolute blast. It was so cool to jump back into the Last of Us world, and now I'm looking forward to the Last of Us, TV show. This is a game that is basically a sequel or spiritual successor to some older games, PS1, PS2, and that is the Valkyrie series with Valkyrie Elysium. This game definitely caught my eye. It had some fun combat. I played straight through this game. I did enjoy my time with it. I feel like, there's not too much to this game once you kind of finish it. You can go back and do like little bits of stuff, but there's not like a ton here. It's a pretty straightforward single player game. You play through it, maybe play through it a second time, but that's about it. There's little bits of side quests and stuff, but nothing absolutely major. I really did enjoy this game though. Definitely not a bad looking game. It had a unique art style, but the combat was definitely fun. It definitely took some getting used to, but I really did enjoy it. It just felt good, especially when you understood how to use it, and just are slaughtering big groups of enemies. But had to play this guy. Then this next one here, I've never actually played any of the games in this franchise, but they always did intrigue me. Probably at some point, if I see any physical copies of the older ones, I'll probably pick them up and give them a go. And that is Star Ocean: The Divine Force. This game was definitely one that shocked me. I really did enjoy my time with this. Absolutely great story, great characters, great voice acting. Not the best animation at times. The characters can be a little goofy looking, but then they can look really good, just as they can look really strange at sometimes. Definitely some great world building here with the planets and the planet and space and stuff, and just the enemy in this game is very interesting. There's robot people and stuff, and just normal people, and it's just freaking cool. I highly recommend this game. It's definitely worth your time. If you see this game with a price drop, which I'm sure it'll get one at some time, it's worth picking up if you like JRPGs. This has action style combat, so it's not turn-based exactly. You can switch between your characters on the fly, but like I said, it's action-based, and you upgrade and all that good stuff. Each character that you have and swap between has their own unique fighting style as well. But then there's also something that whatever character you pick, you get this like robotic system. You wear it on your back, and you're able to kind of like launch yourself in the air and hover, like float down from like high places, or able to get to hard to reach spots in the game. And it's part of the combat system. It's definitely unique and definitely worth your time. Glad I played through this guy. Now this game is one that I didn't complete the main game exactly. I did start it over and get about halfway, but this was all about the DLC, and I ran right through the story DLC, and that is for Resident Evil Village. Such an amazing game, and this game, going back into it, it reminded me how great this game looks. Just with the snow and the trees and the village, it looks amazing. Had a blast with this. The Rose Winters DLC definitely was worth my time, at least. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably played this as well. But after I played the DLC, I actually went back and started playing the main game again. And I'll probably, finish that playthrough, because I started in one sitting. I got probably halfway through the game. But then I ran out of time, stopped, and then something else came out. But at some point, I will be diving back into this and finishing it again. This game definitely has the replayability just because it's so goddamn fun and looks amazing. And this next game is a franchise. I pretty much played all the campaigns of this game, except for the last one that they had before this guy, and that is Call of Duty. I never did pick up Vanguard, and I didn't play that story. Maybe at some point I will when the price is pretty low or whatever, but I always liked the Call of Duty campaigns. Not so big into the multiplayer or whatever, but I love Infinity Ward's Call of Duties in particular. I love the Modern Warfare games, so diving into this was a no-brainer for me. I really enjoyed Modern Warfare Reboot, and same with this one, Modern Warfare 2. Absolutely loved it. The game looks amazing. Not very long, but I feel like it has replay value just because of it not being a tremendously long campaign. The visuals are absolutely stunning in certain parts of the game. The gun models are second to none. I mean, some of the best I've ever seen. So I had to pick this guy up. This next one here, another absolute no-brainer, and that is God of War Ragnarok. I played straight through this game. Love the first one. Love this one. Definitely, knew right away, even before this came out, it'd be up for Game of the Year. Definitely won some awards and stuff for Game of the Year, and it's well deserved because this game is excellent. Just great storytelling. It looks great. It plays phenomenal. It's just a lot of freaking fun. I love this God of War, like reboot or whatever the PS4, PS5 stuff that they've done recently. Can't wait to see where this franchise goes next. I have done just about everything there is to do in this game, except for just collect a couple small artifacts, like in just maybe 3 different places, and to beat the last Berserker boss. I had to take a break from it because the guy was pissing me off, but at some point I got to jump back in, beat him, and get those little last things and get that platinum trophy. But yeah, excellent freaking game. And this next one is one that I just finished last night, and that is the Callisto Protocol. Another game that was controversial. I had a really good time with this game, and it does look amazing on PS5. I seen Digital Foundry did a breakdown of some PS4 and Xbox One gameplay and stuff. It definitely has like lesser textures and all that kind of stuff, lower frame rates, no ray tracing, but it still looks good on there, but it probably just runs a bit sluggish because, I mean, let's face it, it is a little sluggish on PS5, and I'm sure Series X and PC. I mean, even when it's running smooth, it's just built to be kind of sluggish in a way. I did really enjoy this. It doesn't have the most amazing story or anything. It's just the just the experience and being in this crazy freaking place in space. But the game is definitely a looker, and the sound design in this game is absolutely amazing. If you're wearing like headphones on this or have like a beefed up surround sound, that is the way to go to play this in the dark, man, with all the lighting and the shadows and the flickering lights and the noises and stuff. Just, it's done really, really well. Some of the boss designs could have used a little more work maybe. I know the last boss was extremely frustrating, and some of these mini bosses towards the end of the game, it's already bad enough you have this one guy you got to deal with, but then they just throw other enemies at you, and usually they're some of the cheapest enemies ever, especially the last boss. I was getting irritated. It just, the enemies they throw at you along with this freaking behemoth of a boss, it's like, come on, really? Like, you couldn't have did more with him instead of just like throw all these guys, like a whole group of these things freaking crawling at me at the same time. Very annoying, but I did finish it and did enjoy my time. But like I said, that last boss definitely leaves some to be desired for sure. And this next one here is one that I put the absolute most time into this year, and that is no other than Elden Ring. And Elden Ring by far would be my game of the year pick. I absolutely love this game. I was probably most excited for this game out of anything else because it just looked like it screamed something I had to play, especially coming off of Demon Souls remake and playing that so many times. This just looked like more of that, and it absolutely was, but even more than I could imagine. It was almost like Demon Souls remake, Breath of the Wild kind of combined. It was absolutely phenomenal. Did win Game of the Year, and absolutely deserved it. I put at least 400 hours into this game, and I definitely will be jumping back into this. This game has so much replayability. There's so many weapons in here, so much customization. It makes this game's replayability just off the charts. Plus now they added a free DLC where you can fight in the Colosseums that were locked off before. Now you can go in them and do PvP and play versus multiple people and like teams and stuff. Just absolutely freaking awesome. This game is just legendary status right here, man. That's for sure. And two other games that I actually played on the 3DS, and this one I played first, and that is Chrono Trigger. I started playing Chrono Trigger on my Super NES Classic that I have modded. I was playing the Super Nintendo version of this game. I got about halfway, and I really wanted this game to play in handheld. I originally went to Too Many Games. I seen this there, and I was thinking about picking it up. I went back like a half hour later to get it, and it was gone. So I ended up buying this copy off of eBay, And man, I'm glad I did. You know, just this version in particular, it has a little bit more going on. It has more save states. It has like added content to it. It has like anime cutscenes occasionally in it that I guess was in like the PlayStation 1 version. But in my opinion, this is basically the definitive version of this game. Absolutely love this game. I had such a good time with this, and obviously it was obvious to me why this game is so beloved on the Super Nintendo and considered to be one of the best JRPGs ever made. This game is solid as hell. It definitely, you know, shows its age a little bit in some aspects, but the game just overshadows that just because it's so much fun to play, and you know, the story and the characters are just so well done. And this last one that I have here to show you guys is one I just picked up recently. I got for the 3DS, and that is no other than Radiant Historia. This game is absolutely phenomenal. It came out on the DS originally. They did like a you know, in addition, this is the perfect chronology where they added some extra content for the 3DS version or whatever, and it's all here in this package. And man, this is worth your time if you are into RPGs. I love this game. Definitely gave me some Chrono Trigger vibes a little bit in certain aspects. Instead of the time travel, well, there's time travel, so I mean, I guess you could really consider these pretty related. Something I love science fiction, but it has the time travel element, you know, with this more like medieval style and everything with magic and stuff. It's just very interesting. There's multiple timelines, and you have to jump back in time in the different timelines and stuff, and you see when the timelines split, when they reconverge towards the end of the game. There's just like different timelines outside of this stuff. I'm not sure if that was part of like the DLC added content that's in here or whatever, but you're able to like see different versions of this world, like if things were totally changed. And it's a very unique and interesting game. I had an absolute blast with this. I wanted to pick this up so many times through the years, but was always on the fence, and I was like, yeah, maybe, you know, whatever. I slept on it. It was gone. Luckily, I ran into it not that long ago, snatched it up right away, and man, I'm glad I did, because, yeah, absolutely had a blast with this game, guys. But those are the games that I completed in 2022, and just some extra ones on Games Pass that I put a pretty good amount of time into. There was definitely way more games that I put a lot of time into as well, other than that. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely let me know in the comments down below what games you guys completed in 2022. I'd love to hear about it. But thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, have a good one.